This video is a little different than what I typically put on my YouTube channel. I have several 3D printers for sale in the shop, and I just wanted to show everyone what they are. What I have for sale are these three FDM3000 3D printers. They were made somewhere in the late 90s. They all work. They're all in very good condition. They make beautiful looking parts. I have lots of spare parts and new parts that go along with them. But first, I just wanted to show you the machines. Okay, this one, let's turn it on here. And I'll show you the printer does run. Booting up. Low temperature set, hit enter. Okay, that controls the support material temperature, the low setting. What I like about these printers is you can change the temperatures of the model material, of the support material, and of the build envelope, which gives you a lot of flexibility. I have run several different types of materials in these three machines, including ABS, which it's made to do, ASA, I've run some nylon, some polycarbonate, some thermoplastic elastomer, TPE, and even polypropylene in these machines. So that's one nice benefit of having the adjustability on the temperatures is you can run materials that the machines weren't actually made for. But it works, it works. Okay, so the build chamber, it's roughly 10 by 10 by 16 tall. It's just a little under 10 inches square, 9.83, 9.87, something like that. I don't remember for sure. But they're clean. They make parts, and you can see there's the print head in there. You have a heated build chamber on all the machines, which is great. You have two print tips. There's a model tip on the left and the support tip on the right. And you can toggle between them when you're putting materials in. You can load and toggle, choose which head you want to use, that sort of thing. So what I'll do is I'll show you, these are how you control the motion of the head. This is, press this knob, it brings the head forward. Press this knob, pushes the head back to the left, to the right. Hold this down and press the buttons up and down, and it moves the Z-axis, moves the build platform up and down. So let's take a look. First, I'll move the head towards us, and it's going very slow. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll push the button in the center, and then push it, and you see now it moves more quickly. It does move. There's back, to the left, to the right, and now we'll use the Z-axis down, you can see it moving there, and back up. So you see everything functions as far as the movement of the head and the movement of the build platform. Okay, so let's do the next machine. We'll turn this one off. And we'll turn this one on. This one boots up. You see its support material temperature, low setting is 255 degrees. And you can change that. See, low temperature set, hit enter, that'll hesitate, and then it will stop. It'll stop the temperature from going up. Of course, when you're going to use it, you can set these temperatures any place you want, and there's instructions. I have owner's manuals, how to change the temperatures and all the heating elements on the machine. So let's let that warm up for a minute. And while we're doing that, let's go ahead and turn this guy on. We'll let him warm up. There we go. Everybody come up. See, I was running some other material in here. The low temperature setting is set to 200. Okay, there's the low temperature set. Hit enter, and that'll stop that. And here is where you toggle between the model and the support materials. You can see the tip change. It moves there. You can see the tip. Now the support material is down. Now the model material is down lower. So it prints in layers, and you can toggle back and forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this one. Open the door. You see here, I have a head set up for ABS, and I have all the settings written on that head. And that way, I know you can move these heads from machine to machine. You just unscrew it here, you release these two latches, lift the head up, turn it sideways, and then you can pull it right out of the machine and use the head on any of these printers. So when you're running, let's say you're running ABS material and you got something else set up in here, but you want to run ABS, in this machine, you just move the head over. You can even move it into this machine, the FDM8000, which is a much larger build chamber. All the parts and components in this machine is compatible with these machines. Everything can be used from one to the other. Okay, so let's go ahead and first we'll move the head back because it's forward. So gee, there she goes, moves back, move it forward, move it left, move it right, put it in the center, move the build platform, press the Z-axis. You see the Z-axis here. Push that, these two lights come on. That lets you know that now the Z-axis is functioning, not the in and out axis. Okay, so we'll hold that down, hold the button in the center, and then it'll move more quickly, and then hold the down button, and you'll see, there it goes, moving down, then moving back up. So everything works on this machine. Now, this little, I keep these on with the heads because you can see you can change the material feed, how much material it purges out as it's printing the part, so you can make the parts more dense or less dense depending upon how you want to do it. And all the settings, if you calibrate the machine properly, so that it knows where the X and the Y are in relation to each other and the Z-axis, it'll print beautiful, beautiful parts. All right, I'm going to tuck that underneath there so it doesn't blow away. Okay, so you can see this machine also works. So let's go ahead and turn this guy off. And then let's take a look at this one. All right, and this is the same. They're all identical machines. In fact, two of them were manufactured within a couple of machines of each other. I forget which two it is, but the serial numbers are very close. All right, let's open this one. In here we've got another print head in here. So let's go ahead, and it's forward. Let's move it back. See, it moves back quickly. Move it forward. Move it left. Not much room to go there. Move it right. Put it back in the center. And then move the build chamber, or the build platform. So press the little Z-axis button, then it knows up and down. And then we'll move it down. There we go. Move it up. And the machines work just fine. So, let's close this one up. We'll turn it off. And once you turn them off, they run for a little while so they cool down properly before they completely shut off. So that's why they're still running. Now these machines, what you do is the materials actually get loaded in the back of the machine. And typically you can get materials, comes on spools like this. You can get them on big spools, you can get them on smaller spools. And I'll show you this one over here. Open this door up. And there is where the materials go. There's a dry box in here. So what you do is you put some containers of desiccant down in the bottom, and you put your spools on. Support material first goes in the back, then your model material goes in the front. There's area here where you put the filament up in, and you see there's the tubing, there's both of them. You see the tubing, support material in the back, model material in the front facing towards us, and you just push it up into the head from back here. Once it's in the head, then once it's in the head in the front, then you simply use the load and unload features to push the material, the filament, in through the head and purge some out to build a part. So that's what the FDM3000s look like. You want to see what the 8000 looks like? Big machine is always cool, isn't it? Okay, let's look at this one. Well, the FDM8000 works exactly the same as the FDM3000s. So let's start out, turn it on. Let her boot up. Can you see? There it is. Okay, low temperature set. We hit enter, same as any other machines. That'll turn that heater off. There we go. See, now the build chamber is set for 70 degrees Celsius. So that's going to continue to heat up while we're doing this, unless I press the down button and I take the temperature all the way down, which I can do. See, I can take it all the way down to 0 and then it won't heat up. All right, so we'll leave it where it was at 70 because we're only going to be in here for a few minutes, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so this one works the same way. You know, you have in and out, left and right, and then the Z-axis, the lights will come on for doing up and down with the build platform. So let's open the machine. There you go. You can see the head in there. And I gotta hold this with my other hand so I can reach over and move the head. Okay, so let's move it forward. There you go. Moves quickly in that direction. Move back. Moves quickly in that direction also. Okay, let's move it to the left. Okay, good. Move it to the right. Have to be careful because you don't want to move the head quickly when you get close to the edges on the sides and in the front and the back, because you don't want to ram that into the stop. You want to go slowly. So when you're doing this, you got to be careful when you get to the edges. Okay, let's center that head. All right, and let's move the build platform up and down. So we do the same thing as the other machines. We press the button for the Z-axis. The lights come on, let us know we're moving the build platform. Okay, so let's move it down. And you can see she's moving down. Moves a little more slowly going up and down than it does the head back and forth, in and out. And that build tray will go all the way down almost to the bottom. So you can see the size of the part that it'll print. I've actually printed a full-size wall mount toilet in this machine, in this 3D printer. I'll show you some pictures of that. Okay, so let's move the build platform back up. There she moves up. And another nice feature about this one is this little handle here. You unlock this and the entire build platform comes out. So you can pull the part out of the machine to get the part out of there. You can actually lift this out of there if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. Typically what I do is I get the part loose and then I just take it off and take it out of the machine. Lock that back in and you're all set to go. Nice for making nice big parts. Okay, so let's turn this guy off. And I'll show you where the materials go in this machine. This one, they actually go in this little panel here on the right hand side. So you just open this up, move this over, and you see there's another dry box, same as the other machines. And you see what I do is I typically take some little containers and I cut the edges of them off so the reels will clear, and then I fill those containers up with desiccant in order to keep the material dry. And as long as it's in the dry box, it'll do a pretty good job of keeping that material dry when you're building a big part. So that's where the materials load on this one. And then you do the same thing. You just push the materials up until they come up behind in the back of the print head, and then you just use the load and unload features here on the panel, and it will load the material in, and you'll see it purge out, and then you know you've got material in the head and ready to print the part. Okay, so let's close this up. That's just a quick overview of the printers. I also have user's manuals. I have lots of spare parts, a lot of them new parts. I have CDs, DVDs with all the programs on them ready to go. I have extra build heads. I have extra heads to do with the machines. And I'll show you all of that. This is what the tips look like. This is actually a tip for the model material. And this is a tip for the support material. You see, it's a little different size. It's a little smaller in diameter. And I also, all these tips are brand new. I've got 10 thousandths model tips, 10 thousandths diameter model tips. I've got 12 thousandths diameter model tips, whole bunch of those, all brand new. I've got 16 thousandths diameter model tips, all brand new. I've got 12 thousandths diameter support tips, all brand new. And I've got 16 thousandths diameter support tips, also brand new. Now, I also have the little seals. That's what these are, that go in the back. You see in the back of the tip, there's a little groove in there. You put one of those seals in that groove, and then when you screw it into the head, it seals it so the material doesn't leak. Got a bunch of those, all brand new. So I've got lots of spare parts. And I also, one of the other things I have is one of these good fellas. And what is that? Let me show you. This machine has the old serial cables for the printers, and they come down into the back here. They plug in, oh no, the power is on this side, the serial cable goes on the other side. It's behind this blower motor here. Okay, so that comes up, and then you plug that into your computer. However, what I did is I got one of these devices whereby I put all the serial cables into this little device, which emulates COM ports. You can set up on your laptop different COM ports, so it's upside down, but you can see I've got COM 4, I've got COM 5, I've got COM 6, and I had those all set up in my laptop so that it all goes to a USB. I just plug it in the back of my laptop. All three of these machines, I can drive the printers from my laptop, using my laptop to print parts. So if you buy the machines, this comes along with it, and I'll show you how to use that. And I just keep these in this box just to keep everything from getting dusty. So just helps keep it clean. Okay, so what else do we have that goes along with these machines? Over here, I have the user's manuals. Now, these two go to the FDM3000 machines. They're also for FDM2000 machines, but I don't have one of those. And FDM2000 is exactly the same as a 3000, except it does not build as tall a part. These will go to 16 inches tall part, and an FDM2000 is less. I don't know if it's 10 or 12, I don't know. So anyway, I have the user's manuals. These manuals are for the FDM8000. All the user's manuals. I got a bunch of old CDs with old versions of Insight software for doing the build information on your computer to send to the 3D printer and build parts. So I've got a bunch of older Insight, and also Insight will run these printers up to version 8 or version 10, and I have both. So I can give you a more recent version of the software of Insight. These are pretty old versions, but I can give you a more recent version that will work on your computer and will run these three machines. The FDM8000 requires Insight 5. That's the latest version it will run. I have a copy of it, and I will be able to give you a copy of it. I also have a computer that runs that machine, but a standalone computer, but I need to keep that computer. So you'll have to get a computer that's capable of running Windows 7, which will run Insight 5, and it'll run that printer. It's just an old serial cable, a big long one, goes all the way across the shop over here and goes to this computer. So anyway, these all come with the FDM3000s or the 8000. Okay, these are all the manuals for the 8000. These are the extra print heads. And you'll see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have another one in here that's good, but it needs to be rebuilt with the pieces from this one, because the print head, this is what the material flows through to get to the print head. The print head actually screws in. You'll see the threads here on the inside of this. This part is aluminum because they bent it. It's easier to bend, but it's very tricky. You got to be careful with the tips. Somebody damaged the tip in here. It stripped out the threads because they over tightened the print tips. You see the print tips? I'll show you what they look like here. They look like this. They just screw in. That one's a little tight. That one needs to be cleaned out. But the threads in there, somebody over tightened it with a wrench and stripped out the threads on the model, on the support material one. So need to take the tube out of here and rebuild it, put one in there that has the threads in it still, and then it'll work. So there's 6 extra heads. Now here's the trick. I'm not sure what I'm going to release as far as parts and heads with each machine. I will give one head with each of these 3 machines and some extra tips, some new tips, but I will not give all the extra heads unless you buy the FDM8000. And then you buy the 3000s and the 8000, and all the extra print heads go with it. Okay, now I also have, in this cool little box here, I also have brand new lights, brand new fuses. This is the print head tightening wrench, and it's just a little hand wrench. You just very gently snug it up so you don't strip out the threads. I have 2 of those. So I also have one for the FDM8000, but So it's a bit of a pickle because I'm one short of having one of these with every machine. But there's a bunch of the little fellas that snap on. You see here it keeps the material, the heat from coming through and damaging the part. So you've got one of these little shields that snap in, they just snap on there. And that's how that works. Here's a whole bunch of brand new ones. Here's a whole bunch of the pins. These pins, I'll show you. Too difficult to explain what they do, but I can show you very easily. These pins press into the side. You see there's one right there. What it does is it goes through here. Oh, here's one right in front. It goes through here and it sticks into the foam that you actually build the part on top of this foam, and it secures the foam. These pins just pull, you see they just pull in and out, and it holds the foam in place, which is what you actually build the parts on. And that's in this printer too, in the FDM8000. You see it's the same thing. So we have a bunch of those pins, a bunch of those, a bunch of the brushes for wiping off the print heads, the print tips as it builds, a bunch of these here. So there's all kinds of parts. Now, the other thing I have is a box and a half of the foam build platforms. And I haven't had them all out, but many of these are brand new. They've never been used. And you can use both sides of it. So once you print on one side and you're kind of done, you don't want to use it anymore, you just flip them over and print on the other side. And so let's see what's in the other box. I believe, yeah, there's some here too. Now, some of these apparently have been used. You can see there's the holes where the pins went in to hold it. So let's slip that one out and see what it looks like. Ah, nothing. Looks like they had it in the machine and took it out and never ran any parts on it. So that one's still brand new, just has holes in it. These are all, yeah, they all look to be new. Okay, so that's good. So there's a bunch of build platforms. Now, on the FDM8000, I have a couple of platforms up there, but they're used. And you see, those platforms are pretty big. And what I was looking to do was to alter this. I wanted to put some sort of a platform in there and then use some of these build sheets, these plastic build sheets that come with my Fortis 400 MC, put these in there, somehow attach it to the bottom and build that. See what I'm after there? You can use those instead of the foam platforms, but you need to make some modification to the machine. I haven't done that yet. And unless I end up keeping that machine, if nobody buys it, then maybe I will do so. But at this point, I haven't gotten to it. Okay, so a whole bunch of goodies to be had. I just need to decide what's going to go with what, depending upon what someone decides they'd like to have. So I got to think about that, and then I'll have a list on the website in the description. I'll get it all organized and sorted out, and we can go from there. Okay, well, that's it. 4 3D printers for sale, including this big one. Oh, also, these all run on 110 volts, 120 volts, no problem, just plug it in. This one runs on 240 volts, single phase. Okay, so it's simple. It's not 3-phase like the 400 across the shop. That one's more involved. But this is just regular 240 volt, single phase. Now, it needs to be wired correctly so that you don't blow some chips in the motherboard. And if you're seriously interested, you come see the machine. I'll explain that to you, what you need to do to keep from damaging the printer. Not difficult at all. All you got to do is know exactly what your line voltage is, if it's 240, 220, 208. You need to know exactly what it is, because inside the machine you need to change switches on the power supply to match your line voltage. If you don't, and it thinks it's getting something different than what it's really getting, it can damage a couple of the chips on the motherboard, and then you got to replace chips. So if you're interested in any of the 3D printers, get in touch with me. You can find contact information in the video description. Thank you.